All right, folks, I have talked to the folks at Timberking. I have a pretty good plan set in place, what I think I'm going to do. Step one, I didn't show it on here, but you remove this cover here, which covers your belts. And I will maybe talk about that at the end of the video and everything. It's very easy. There's 4 bolts that hold it on. You've got 2 in this vicinity right here. You've got 1 over above the wheel there. And then you have, of course, the one that comes off the on the diesel engine. It comes off right underneath the air intake. On the gas engine, I believe there's something as well similar to there. So what we've come up with is the fact that this is free spooling. I have an issue with probably a key sheared in this pulley right here. This is the hydraulic pumps. There's 2 hydraulic pumps right here. I can see on this one right here. Bring it around. Right here. So you can see that there is, in fact, a little keyway right there on this pulley, which makes me believe that there would be a keyway on that pulley up there. Obviously, something has sheared in there, and this main crank bolt or clutch bolt right here is just trying to hold it in there by force. Hence, that one washer there, you see some metal little shavings and everything. So that was just eating into that washer. So first things first, how do you unloose or like take this bolt right here and loosen it up? Well, you can't really put anything around this clutch. I've tried. You can't really hold anything. The only way that I've been able to find out how to loosen this up is you go up here to the front and you go up to the main crankshaft bolt here. And I actually have a little wrench on there, and the good thing is I've got the framework that holds on the radiator to hold it in place. Otherwise, you need another person to hold this because it's too big. You can't get your arms all the way around it. So by doing that, I can go on the back side, or the front side if you want to call it that, and put a wrench on there to loosen it up. So right now, I'll show you. I've got my torque wrench right now, but it's what I got. And I can just go ahead and, actually that's tightening. And I can, oh, is that loosening? No, that's loosening. Yeah, I can go ahead and loosen it up. It's kind of hard to do this while filming. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera down onto a tripod. But step one, before I even do that, I'm getting ahead of myself here, is I actually have to take this hydraulic pump assembly, slide it to the right, loosen up this belt, take this belt off and everything, and then I'll go ahead and take that off. Now I've been told that there is a center shaft that the clutch and all that stuff is on, and that this bolt goes into that center shaft. So by taking that bolt out, I should be able to leave everything else in place. So right now, we'll go and get this loosened up and then go from there. So here we go. All right, folks, now I'm gonna climb up onto this sawmill. And the good thing about the 2000s and newer ones now, I don't know if they have this on all the older models, but they have a big plate, or the drag bag system puts logs, or puts the boards. You can use that plate to stand on, which is really nice. All right, so step one, I'll loose up the hydraulic pump. Just a little bit, and we're going to slide it over to take off that belt. Whenever I tighten this back up, I'm almost certain I'm going to have a second person to help me. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Now we've got that belt off. That was pretty easy. I like the setup they have here. It's a big bar stock welded on there. Pretty nice. All right, so we've got that end secured up against the framework that holds the radiator. So continue going to the left. Just give you an idea. So even though I'm taking this off, we're still taking it about 35 foot-pounds or so. Okay. getting a little bit easier. This also allows me to kind of see the inner workings, because I have not done this before. Looks like this is the only thing that's coming out, so that's good. I'm keeping an eye because this belt here is tensioned. I already know what the problem is. There is a set screw that goes into there, and I can see that set screw is no more. So there, we may have already figured out what the issue is. It looks like whatever that set screw was, it's been turned to metal dust. So maybe I should be able to just go up to the auto parts store and get just a simple set screw. That'd be really nice if that's all it is. But I gotta see how that ties into the bolt too. Everything else seems to be staying on here. I don't know. That'd be real nice if that's all it is. Just a very simple set screw. This is a big old grade 8 bolt here. It appears that this is a very long bolt as well. Everything's still intact. So odds are that this is actually the only thing that's holding on. This whole clutch assembly, but it goes into a shaft. So this is a bolt that goes actually into the shaft. But yeah, it just turned that little set screw into dust. Alright, no set screw left. Okay, yeah. So I can see that's just a hunk of, feels like aluminum. And then this is the set screw just, I guess, went into that edge right there. There is a little keyway, but there's nothing marked into the bolt, so let me find out from there. I don't even see a key into this, unless it's, I don't know, maybe it's held, that's held in there by the tension of this pushing onto that plate. If that makes sense. Alright, so I'll keep this assembly as is. I'll show you a close-up of this here in just a second. Let me get down real quick. Let's see. So we'll show you what's on the inside here. As you can see, that actually is just held in there with pressure onto there. But this is the actual thingamabobber that does it all. So you got like this appears to be an aluminum piece of metal right here. This is your clutch, or not your clutch, your pulley, and you can see, I get the picture right, there's where your set screw should be, but set screw, I guess, is turned to absolute dust, and that set screw just ties into the bolt right there, this grade 8 bolt, which goes into the front. So whenever I put this all back together, I do have some thread locker. I'm going to go ahead and put on this thing, get this thing all cleaned up, put some thread locker on there. Now I just have to go find a set screw that will fit into there. So that should be pretty easy. Once I do that, because it's not really doing a lot, all this is doing is powering this pump right here, and it's a hydraulic pump, so it doesn't actually have a lot of force on it. What has a lot of force on it is that sucker right there, which is why it's important to have the 45 foot-pounds of I guess force or pressure onto this big bolt right here. So let me go to the auto parts store, we'll find a set screw that matches that, and we'll put it all in. Sounds good, here we go. All right, folks, so I just got off the phone again with Timberking, and I asked them about, hey, is there a set screw or key that goes in here? And they said no. So yesterday when I was attempting to get the actual saw head back and everything, what I may have done is this little washer right here, I just wiped that surface clean there, so I have essentially a very, very smooth surface right here. What I'm gonna do is, first things first, I'll flip this washer, so that way I won't be using a smooth, you know, wiped surface on one side. I'll flip that washer. I'm also going to see if I can take some sandpaper and kind of scuff that up. They said this whole thing, it's a compressive type system where it's held in there by the 45 foot-pounds. Now, I checked this early on. It says to check it the first 10 hours or so, and we checked it and it was good from the factory. And then every 100 hours from then, well, I'm at 105 hours, so I'm 3 hours away or excuse me, 5 hours away from when I should have checked this next. So the other thing I can do is I can also go to the auto parts store. This looks like a very standard pulley. In fact, I can probably go to Tractor Supply and look at this too. And I might get another pulley to see. I don't think that surface should look like that. I think that was my washer digging into that. So I'm going to find out. I'll see if I can go to the auto parts store or Tractor Supply, find another one of these pulleys the same size, and see if we can get this thing back up and running again, because she wants to cut some more wood. She's so hungry after cutting up this giant box elder. If you haven't checked that video out, go ahead and check that video out. All right, so stand by, here we go. All right, folks, so Mr. Robert came over. We looked at a couple things. This is all held in there by compression, and I think we're getting some slippage on this aluminum right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and sand some of this down, see if we can get the surface back, touch up this a little bit, as well as the washer. So I'm gonna go ahead and sand this with some 80 grit with the orbital sander and see if we can actually get that face there again, some texture, and then try putting it back together and see if she'll hold. So here we go. All right, folks, we're gonna go ahead and put this back together. We put a little bit of the Loctite on the bolt here. The pattern that goes in there, we're actually gonna flip some of our washers. So we took the washer, this big aluminum one here, and we sanded it down a little bit, as well as on the mounting surface or face of this pulley as well. We're going to see if we've created a better fit between these bolts, and as we torque it down to 45 foot-pounds. So first things first, let me put the whole assembly kind of together. I'll have to do it two-part here. So what we're going to do is on the front face right here, the bolt, the washer was in that orientation. We're actually going to flip. Let's see. Yeah, we'll flip it. Was it that way? One second. What side do you think was up against it?
Yeah, let's put it like that.
Put it like that. Okay, so we're going to have this surface right here, because that makes sense because the bolt was on that. We're going to make that the mating surface on the front there. Then you put the bolt through. Then you get this aluminum washer, and I'm going to flip this one as well because we've kind of gouged out a little bit of surface here. We sanded it down, but the good thing is based on where I'm seeing the indication on this side right here, it's still going to match up with no issue. So we'll have this thing flipped where that the surface of this will be flush up against the surface of this, which we've cleaned up. So we've got that. Then we'll go ahead and put this all in here. And again, this is what we're going to torque down to 45 foot-pounds. Go ahead and get that. I'll put in there by hand. Mr. Robert's going to go to the back side here in a second as we move the wrench around a little bit. Again, the wrench is onto the face, or onto the mounting bracket of the coolant, the radiator. Sorry, had a brain fart there. Go ahead and start this thing. Is it moving over? That's probably just tightening right now. So that crescent wrench on the back side, which is on the main crank bolt and everything, should be moving around here. As soon as now I can start to see the engine move. We're about 20 foot-pounds of torque right now. Is it moved over yet?
Yep.
Okay.
Whoops, I slipped off, Tom.
All right. You mean back it off a little bit or anything?
No. Come on around with it.
All right.
Now you've got it.
Okay, so we're still about 20 foot-pounds of torque as we continue to torque down this bolt. Now we're about 25. And 40. And I'll show you here in a second how this torque, and that's about 45 right there. So let me go ahead and take this off the tripod. All right, so this is an old school torque wrench from Sears. So, oh, you want to go ahead and put it back on there, Mr. Robert? So I'm going to show the torquing of this.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so it's back on there. There's,
All right,
there you go. Now we're,
now stop.
so there's about 30, there's 40, and that's roughly about 45 right there. So I think we are good and set where we want to be. So 45. So now we'll see if I can put my hands on here and turn this sucker. But really, we need to let this. Oh, the Loctite, it can set up in there. That'll be fine. But right here in the mounting face, I'm not being able to turn this, which is good. That's a good indication. I think we have since corrected the issue, because right now I'm actually turning the engine, which is good. So now we got to put the bolt or the belt back on here for the hydraulic pumps, tighten her up, and we should be pretty much good to go. Pretty quick and easy fix, if that in fact does fix it. All right, so here we go. All right, folks, so now Mr. Robert's going to help me hold this while we tighten up this belt here for the hydraulics. So I'll probably be pushing it over and holding one wrench while Mr. Robert tightens it up, but we'll just get this belt as tight as we can, because there is really no tensioning mechanism. So this is gonna be kind of funny to watch. All right, let me walk back over here without busting my butt.
Now, you sure we need it really, really, really tight?
No, we don't need it real tight, but you want to have it about like that tight.
Okay.
Just gonna be able to figure out. I mean, I think I'm gonna have to take two hands to do this.
Actually,
Does one of these fit that?
actually,
Yeah, it's I use the ratchet
what's the last game?
right here.
Okay, that's
No.
So that one goes on, and then it was the 16 millimeter. Maybe I put it on top of here. Yep, put it where I last left it.
so that's where that other glove fits.
All right, so
Thomas, get you a problem. Push it over and hold it. You won't get no strain.
a man pry hands.
All right. Okay.
That's pretty good right there.
Mm.
What I'm gonna do is I'll use my
Ready
hand.
when you're ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Well, yeah, we go tighten it.
The other time.
The other tighten.
Ready?
Yep.
That's got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah, that's good. It's about what it was last time. Yep. Got it.
Hey, Evie, you want to see something funny?
What?
Hey!
Dad, don't make a bomb, Mr. Robert.
Don't make me fall. All right, let's go ahead. Let me crank it up. Or in fact, I can have you crank it up. We'll have to make sure we take that wrench off the
It's off.
main bolt.
I took it off.
I
I got it laying right here.
So all I have you do to crank it up, because I want to see if it's gonna do anything with the hydraulics or not, is you'll turn the key. Yeah.
Wallet shirt right there.
Turn the key to the on position
It's on the green.
and hold down the green button. And then once you do that, the second lever on your left hand side will raise and lower these log stops.
Where's the green button?
See it on the bottom of the screen there?
In the middle of the screen?
Yes.
Just push it.
Yep. Hold it down until it cranks. It'll crank. Looks good. All right, so make sure second lever, the left-hand side, going down this. Yep. All right, now let's take head up and down with the far right lever. Go down. Far right lever. And go down. Ah, good. All right, there you go. Sweet, it works. All right, now you can turn off the TV. All right, so that's a really good op test.
Does that make you feel good?
It makes me feel really good. Op test stat. We
right.
got it back on there. Hydraulics work again. No squealing. So again, yes, I checked this early on, 45 foot-pounds. Make sure you check it. It says after that every 100 hours. Well, I was, what, 5 hours short of another 100 hours. So you might want to check a little more than that. I'm just saying. And then all we didn't have to get any more parts or anything. The only thing we did get was we got some Loctite just on that main bolt, just so it doesn't back out anymore. That's kind of a precautionary thing. But we know it's set. We did sand down the surface a little bit on there, as you saw. And there is no key in there. Even though there's a keyway and there's a area for a set screw, there is no key that goes in there. So I called the folks at Timberking. They said, no, you don't want a key or anything in there. That's the way it's designed. So 45 foot-pounds on this main bolt. Check it. It says the first 10 hours and every 100 hours after that. You might want to go a little more than that. Other than that, we're ready to cut. I'm very happy. Hope this is helpful to y'all. I'm not going to show putting on the cover plate. Literally, I've already talked about there's four bolts that go on to cover everything up. You know, it's 4 bolts. You can figure it out. All right, y'all. Thanks. We'll see you around.